Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the live game preview to Everton's return to Premier League football this Sunday. It's the Merseyside derby of course at Goodison Park. Behind closed doors, it feels absolutely weird coming on and saying we're doing a live game preview because we haven't done one in absolute months. But we're going to sit down, we're going to talk about Sunday's game today. We're going to give my predicted starting 11, which you can see on the screen now. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a while. We're also going to talk about Carlo Ancelotti's pre-game press conference today, give a little bit of an injury update and talk over some of the topics that he spoke about ahead of Sunday's game. But football is well and truly back. It returned on Wednesday night. Obviously Aston Villa facing Sheffield United and Manchester City facing Arsenal on Wednesday. One absolute battering of Arsenal and the other game had an absolute dreadful decision in it. The Premier League is back for Everton Football Club of course on Sunday. We play at Goodison Park against Liverpool, a fixture that was meant to be played prior to the league suspension. It's behind closed doors. It's going to be weird. It's going to be strange having to stay at home and watch the game. But it's got to be done. We have to do what we have to do. And unfortunately, we have to support from home. It's going to be really, really weird. We're going to talk about the Goodison Park atmosphere a little bit later on in the stream and how that could have an effect on the players. Carlo Ancelotti spoken about that as well in today's pre-game press conference. Before we go into anything then, we'll jump in straight into an injury update. Carlo Ancelotti has confirmed today that Andre Gomez is fit for Sunday's game against Liverpool, which is really, really positive news. A little bit like we expected, he's confirmed that both Fabian Delph and Yerry Mina will miss the Merseyside derby through injury. However, he expects them to be back by next week for when we face Norwich City away from home. He also said that I think Gomez is really important for us. He's comfortable on the pitch and we are really pleased to have him back. Just going a little bit further into Ancelotti's pre-game press conference then, because obviously we already knew that Andre Gomez was likely to be fit. We had a little bit of an injury update through the week to state that, you know, Andre Gomez is likely to be fit. However, Yerry Mina and Fabian Delph probably won't be. That is the case now that we know. He went on to talk about Evertonians. He said, I know the Everton fans look for this game. We know really well what we have to do. We have to play a perfect game showing character, sacrifice and personality. He said, we don't know how the players will react without supporters. We will see, something that we're going to talk about in a little bit more detail a little bit later on in the stream. And he also said, we have to consider this game as a great opportunity. It will be difficult, of course, because Liverpool are one of the best in the world, but we have to try. And I think he's absolutely spot on in everything that he says there. He says, everyone in football says you're supporters of the 12th man, but we have to respect the procedure. I hope that soon we can have supporters. We have to manage this situation as best as we can. He also talked about tactical changes and said that there will be no tactical changes in this period. We were in contact with players, showing them some video and giving them physical training. We are not going to change our strategy or our style until the end of the season. We will follow the style in games before the lockdown. So basically Carlo Ancelotti confirming there that we're not going to adapt the style as of yet. We're not going to change it. You're not likely to see a different style of formation on Sunday. You're not likely to see different tactics either. And this is something that I've spoke about, you know, a few times over the last few weeks or so, especially when we knew that Premier League football was returning. I think Carlo Ancelotti come into Everton Football Club and he said that he sort of come in and he understood that we were in a little bit of a, you know, dire situation. We were losing games of football that we shouldn't be losing. You know, players were disinterested. You could say Marco Silva had lost the dressing room, whatever you want to say. Carlo Ancelotti come in and he adapted a formation that was used very, very well by Duncan Ferguson. Duncan Ferguson obviously come in the interim basis when Marco Silva was sacked. He went to a straight, basic 4-4-2 formation. He had the players basically doing the basics and it was working really, really well. So Carlo Ancelotti come in and I feel like he just sort of said, you know what, I'll adopt that for now. We'll work with that for now. And then when I've got a little bit of time at the end of the season to, you know, to look over the squad and deem who's going to be here next season and who isn't going to be here, that's when we can start to talk about different formations, etc. And there was a little bit of a discussion as to whether Carlo Ancelotti will have had those thoughts and will have thought about that during the lockdown. Obviously, whilst there's been no football, he may well have had those thoughts, but it's clear now from the man himself as to state that there will be no tactical changes on Sunday, and it'll be very, very similar to the, you know, the style and the strategy in which we play and have played prior to the lockdown, which again I think is probably something that we all knew deep down, but it's just being confirmed by the boss himself now. So the Merseyside derby on Sunday, what are my thoughts going into the game? Listen, you know, when Obviously, the lockdown was put on us, and the Premier League was suspended. We all knew that the Merseyside derby was the next game that Everton were due to play, and ultimately we knew that when football, was going to return, if football was going to return, it would be the Merseyside derby that would be the first game that we played. I think it's not the ideal fixture, is it? Let's be honest. Not only coming up against your local rivals, but coming up against your local rivals in a stadium with no fans to create that brilliant atmosphere that we know from Goodison Park, to create that real hostile environment for Liverpool Football Club. It's not ideal that we're not going to be able to do that in the same way that we usually can, and it's also not ideal that those lot over the road are very, very good at the moment, whether you like it or not. Carlo Ancelotti said it himself, they're a very good footballing team. They've walked away with the league. They won the league about 6 months ago. They won the Champions League last year. They're a very good team. So in terms of return fixtures for Premier League clubs, not many clubs are going to have it much harder than Everton. Arsenal are probably one of the only other clubs that have got a tougher Premier League fixture, or as tough a Premier League fixture to return to. We're coming up in a local derby against a really, really good team. So it's going to be hard for the lads on Sunday. It really, really is. Everybody needs to be sharp. Everybody needs to be up to fitness. And you know what we have to do? We have to get at Liverpool. We can't allow Liverpool to play with the ball. We need to play them at their own game. We need to get at them. We need to make sure that they know that we're not going to sit back and allow them the ball, because one of the worst things we could do on Sunday is turn around and say to Liverpool, yeah, you have the ball and we're just going to sit 11 men behind it and we're just going to defend for our entire lives, because that's exactly what they want. They want to be given the ball, they want to be given the freedom, they want to be given the space. If we pick the ball up and get at Liverpool and say, actually, you know what, no, we're going to run with the ball, we're going to move with it, we're going to come at you, we're going to create opportunities, we're going to get in your face, they won't know how to deal with that. And that's exactly what Watford done. Obviously, a few months back when they managed to beat them, Liverpool come into the Watford game expecting a team that were going to sit back and try and avoid being beaten, but they didn't. They stood up and they went for them and they went for the throat, and ultimately they caught them off guard, and Watford ended up winning that game of football. Now, I think it's vitally important that Everton do the same. I think it's vitally important that Everton utilise our forward line, who prior to the suspension of the league, obviously, were in very, very good form. Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, two of the most informed strikers in the league at that time. I think it's really, really important that we feed balls to them. We make sure that we're giving them opportunities, and we make sure that we take those opportunities as well. And Merseyside derby notoriously isn't a game where you can afford to not take your opportunities. If Dominic Calvert-Lewin goes one-on-one with the goalkeeper, he needs to score. If Richarlison's got an open header from a corner, he needs to score. Far too many times over the years, even in recent times, thinking back to last season, have we had Merseyside derbies where we have clear-cut opportunities and we just don't put them away. I'm not talking clear-cut as in, one of our attackers has been one-on-one with the goalkeeper. I'm talking like free headers in the box where you only have to find the corner and it's going in, or going round the keeper and you only have to slot it in, but we end up missing the target. Opportunities that we cannot afford to miss, and it's going to be the same on Sunday. Like I said, it's important that, again, like we try and do with every Merseyside derby, we strip down the fact that it's a Merseyside derby. We strip down the fact that we're playing our local rivals, and we look at the team that we're actually playing, and it's important that we understand that we're playing a very, very, very good side. And I think one thing that goes in Everton's favour for this is that there's no form whatsoever. Obviously, prior to the suspension of the league and the lockdown, we were going into playing a Liverpool team that were in fairly decent form. Only lost one Premier League game this season. Obviously, they had a little bit of a nightmare in the Champions League, but again, they were in really, really good form. We're now coming into the game where there's no form whatsoever, no teams in form, and I'm not saying that means that Liverpool aren't going to be as good as they were 2 or 3 months ago, and I'm not saying that means Everton aren't going to be as good as we are, but what I'm saying is it's a fresh start for both teams, and it's a fresh start for Carlo Ancelotti, and I think it's really, really important that Carlo Ancelotti has sat down with the players, and for those players, your Sigurdssons, your Iwobis, your Fabian Delphs, who maybe haven't impressed this season, he sits down and goes, right, let's chalk off the previous 29 games or whatever it is, and let's look at these remaining 9 fixtures, work your arse off and prove to me that you are good enough to be in this Everton team. Very similar with the youngsters that are going to be brought into the team, not just on Sunday, but over the next coming weeks or so, because we need as much squad rotation as possible. It's important that those young players have the opportunity to prove that you are good enough to be in a Premier League squad, you are good enough to play for a Premier League team who are fighting towards finishing in a European position, and if they're not good enough and if they don't prove that, then they're likely to go out on loan. Obviously, I've put Anthony Gordon in my predicted start 11, which we'll talk about a little bit later on in the live stream. In regards to the predicted start 11, I've gone for an 11 that personally, for me, I would like Carlo Ancelotti to go with. I'm not 100% convinced he'll go with this exact lineup, but I would like him to go with. There's even a couple of players that I'd probably change about, but I just simply don't think it will happen. Like I said, we'll get into that in just a second. The crowd's a massive talking point, of course. The first ever behind closed doors Merseyside derby, I believe it is, certainly since the war times. There's going to be no Goodison crowd there, and we know how useful and we know how important the Goodison Park crowd is, you know, in the Merseyside derbies. You only have to look back to last season when Liverpool were coming to Goodison Park, again in very, very good form, again a team that were fighting for the Premier League, that were fighting to, you know, pick as many points up as possible, and they come to Goodison Park at a time where Everton really weren't in good form whatsoever. We were up and down, we were shaky, we come off the back of a rocky Christmas period, and the Merseyside derby at Goodison Park last season was a real turning point in Marco Silva's Everton career, and it was almost like a second opportunity for Marco Silva. And I know ultimately it didn't work out in the end, but the atmosphere on that day, I can honestly say, in my 15 years of going to Goodison Park consistently, I cannot remember a game where the atmosphere has been that hostile. You know, Z cars, you know, the first time that the siren was used with the Z cars, and we really made it horrible for them, and they hated it. No matter what any Liverpool fan tells you, they'll tell you otherwise. They'll tell you, oh, they didn't care and you just didn't win, so it doesn't matter. But they were absolute shocked. They didn't sing it, they didn't chant a song, they didn't make any noise for the entire 90 minutes because they proper bricked themselves because of the atmosphere that we created. The players reacted to that, the players turned up, the players actually fought for the badge, they fought for the team, they done what we'd criticised them for not doing for pretty much the entirety of the first half of last season. They actually turned up and they actually fought. Now obviously there's not going to be any of that on Sunday because there is no crowd. Yeah, okay, there'll be the siren and there'll be Z cars and there'll be crowd noise if you're watching at home, but for those footballers playing on that pitch, for that Everton team, it's simply Carlo Ancelotti and those players on the pitch. That's it. There's no crowd to you know, push them on or spur them on, and B, you know, on the other hand, there's no crowd to get on the back if something goes wrong either. So it's very easy, I think, from a fan's point of view, to assume that the lack of crowd and the lack of Goodison Park atmosphere will be a negative thing, and I think it's fair to say that it is a negative thing because, you know, like I said, you only have to look back to the Merseyside derby last year and see how detrimental the crowd was in our performance last season. So listen, it's really sad and frustrating that there won't be a crowd there, that we won't be at Goodison Park on Sunday, that we won't be able to go and cheer on the Blues, but ultimately it is what it is, and you know, obviously with the current circumstances we can't help that. But I want to flip it and I want to talk about the positives of that, not necessarily the positives, but how the players might react to no crowd. Carlo Ancelotti has said, listen, it'll be different, that, you know, the crowd is the 12th man in football, but ultimately Carlo Ancelotti has come out and said something that I think we're all thinking, is that we don't know how the players are going to react until they're there playing that game of football. Now, Carlo Ancelotti is a manager who notoriously, over his years of managing top football clubs, has been notorious for putting his arms around players and calming players down and talking to players and making sure players understand that they just need to get their head down, enjoy themselves and play football. That's all they need to do. They don't need to go out and do anything extravagant. They just need to do the basics and make sure that they utilise the quality and they use the strategy that they've been working on in training. Now, I don't want to sit here and say, you know, the crowd hinders that, or if the crowd are getting on certain players, that totally throws the strategies out the window. But what I'm saying is that there's no excuse for the players now. There'll be very little nerves because there's not 40,000 Evertonians, you know, in the stadium bagging on what happens on the pitch. The Evertonians are at home in their millions watching from home, but maybe that'll give the players a little bit more confidence, maybe that'll give the players a little bit more freedom, maybe they won't feel the pressure as much because, like I said, it's just them on the pitch on their own with Carlo Ancelotti being able to sort of guide them through that without the pressure of 40,000 Evertonians there watching you at that same time. Okay, everyone will be watching at home, and if they put in a dreadful performance, then yeah, and they go onto social media after the game, then yeah, definitely, I think a lot of Evertonians will be very unhappy, including myself. But you only have to look at some of the Merseyside derby performances in previous years, and with crowds, you know, at Anfield, at Goodison Park, there's been some derby performances at Goodison Park which have been absolutely dreadful in recent years, and that's been with an Everton crowd of 40,000 Evertonians cheering them on, and I think, like I said, you know, listen, it's not great that there's no crowd and there's not going to be any atmosphere and nobody's there to cheer on the team, but I really, really do hope that Carlo Ancelotti has turned that into a positive. I really, really do hope that Carlo Ancelotti sat down with the lads and said, look, this is absolutely shit. We've got no fans in the stadium. We've got no one to cheer us on. It's wank. It's absolutely wank. But you have to make the most of it and you have to utilise it, because I can guarantee you one thing, them lot over the park will not be turning up going, oh, it's shit that there's no crowd here, isn't it? They'll be turning up focused and ready to, get on the pitch and do what they need to do, and we need to have that same mindset. We need to turn up focused, not worry about what's going on around us, just worry about what's happening on the pitch and winning that game of football, because like I said before, it's a fresh start. There's no form. Liverpool are starting in a very similar position to Everton, not in regards to the league table or the quality of players, but they're playing their first game of competitive football in 3 months. Everton are playing our first game of competitive football in 3 months. It's an even playing field in that sort of manner, and I think we really, really need to utilise that. And don't get me wrong, I am massively, massively confident that within the last 3 months or so, Carlo Ancelotti has sat down with these lads and he's sat down on his own and he's really, really identified where we need to do better and where we need to improve and how we approach this game. This has probably been the biggest build-up to a game Carlo Ancelotti's ever had in his managerial career. He's probably never had this much time to prepare for any game before. Like I said, it's not great that the Premier League's returning and our first competitive game back is in the Merseyside derby, against the side that are flying on form at the moment, or were flying on form prior to the suspension. But it has to be done and we have to turn up, and if we turn up on Sunday and we put in a good performance and we come out with a win or we come out with a positive result, then that sets up the remaining 8 games of the season perfectly. We get those 8 games done, we get some good results in there, and then we're looking forward to next season positively then. I think it's really, really important that we do that. Can we win the game? Of course we can. Of course we can, but again, like I said, it will be tough, as every Merseyside derby is tough, but we can go out there and we can win this game of football. And I am confident, and I'm confident on the basis that we've got a manager who's got as much experience as Carlo Ancelotti has, and has got as much, as the years that he's got in the game of working with individual players and being able to look at issues that need to be resolved. He's had 3 months to prepare for this game, and I think, when you look back at some previous Everton performances, like I said, realistically, as long as we turn up and put a fight in, I don't mind Everton. Look, we'll talk about the referee because I think it's important. I think it's important to say that obviously Mike Dean will be the referee for the game on Sunday. Mike Dean, absolutely dreadful referee. He refereed the Merseyside derby at Anfield in December. He done us over in that game by not giving a blatant penalty against Dominic Calvert-Lewin and a red card for Van Dijk. Chris Calvin-Haas on the VAR. He sent Carlo Ancelotti off in the last Premier League fixture to be played at Goodison Park against Manchester United because he basically didn't like the fact that Carlo Ancelotti disagreed with his decision making. So in terms of officials, we're probably going to get done over. I read a scary stat about Mike Dean a couple of days ago which said that I think he's refereed something like 43 Liverpool games, and out of those 43 they've won 38 and drawn the rest of them. They haven't lost a game whilst he's refereed them, and I don't want to sit here and make excuses, and I don't want to sit here and say, look, we've got no chance because the officials on the day are shite and they're probably going to go against us. Yeah, they might well do. They might well go against us. But ultimately, listen, Mike Dean made the shocking decision in the Merseyside derby at Anfield in December, and he should have given us a penalty. But ultimately, we conceded 5 goals in that game, and they weren't all down to Mike Dean. For me, I think if Everton turn up and give 110% and work our asses off and get in their face and make sure that we know we're there and don't give them an easy afternoon, throw tackles in, make yourself physical, throw your body about, get yourself involved, use your opportunities, utilise your skills, utilise your tactics that you're being taught on the training ground, utilise your ability, then I will be proud of that Everton team. If we get done over by a referee, it won't be the first time, it won't be the last time, but the one thing that I absolutely cannot stand for, and it pisses me off, whether it's in the Merseyside derby or any game, but specifically in the Merseyside derby, is Everton teams and Everton players turning up and just looking like they don't give a fuck. And we've seen that with a couple of players. I'm not going to name names, but we've seen that with a couple of players back in December, and I really, really don't want to see that again on Sunday. I want to see every single Everton player that puts that shirt on and gets on that pitch on Sunday giving 110% and fighting for that badge and fighting for that shirt, because you've got one of the best managers in world football managing you, and if you're going to go onto that pitch and act like you're not asked and you don't give a shit and you don't really care and you just want to get home, then you're probably not going to be on the contract that you're on this summer because you'll be sold. I want every single one of them to work as hard as I hope they've been working off the pitch in lockdown, as I hope they've been doing, whilst they've been in training for the last couple of weeks or so, because we've seen the training videos, everybody is smiling, everybody's in positive, in a positive attitude, everybody looks to be enjoying themselves. It's about going on the pitch and emulating that now, and I think it's important that we do that on Sunday. Anyway, let's get into my predicted starting 11 then, and we'll go through that one. We haven't done a predicted starting 11 in a long time, so bear with me just a second. In goal, of course, it is Jordan Pickford. No other option there, really. Martin Stecklenburg, I think, is due to sign a little extension contract, which basically means that he'll be here until the end of the Premier League season. Obviously, because his current contract will have due to have ran out, I believe. Hopefully, he's already signed that so he can be on the bench for Sunday. I've gone for Luca Dean at left back again. No real surprise there. Listen, I absolutely love Leighton Baines, but I think on the day, when you compare the two, when you compare, the fitness of the two, and obviously Luca Dean is a lot younger, very, very good going forward as well. I don't think I have to argue the point of putting Luca Dean in at left back. Mason Holgate and Michael Keane at centre back. Again, no real argument there. Yerry Mina isn't fit, isn't available for this game. Carlo Ancelotti has confirmed today that Yerry Mina will miss out on this game, so there's not really any other options. Mason Holgate, absolutely fantastic for pretty much the entirety of this Premier League season. Definitely up there with the contender for Player of the Year for me for Everton Football Club. Looks really, really good when he's come back to training. He looks very, very sharp, looks fast, he's keeping up with players, he's throwing tackles in. He looks like he's built himself up a little bit as well to add that strength and physicality to his game a little bit more. Massively impressed with Mason Holgate this season, so he's in there, of course. Michael Keane next to him again. Maybe if Yerry Mina was fit, Michael Keane mightn't have been in there. He mightn't have been in the centre of defence next to Mason Holgate. But again, I've been quietly impressed with Michael Keane in the few training videos that I've seen of him. Again, he's impressing going forward. He scored a couple of goals in one of the training videos from headers, from set pieces. He looks solid defensively as well. So I'm happy for Michael Keane to be in there next to Mason Holgate. I've gone for Seamus Coleman at right back. Listen, I think it was quite an easy decision for me. I think on the day when you compare Seamus Coleman and Jabril Sidibe and you put the pair of them together and you say, right, okay, both of them are fully fit, who is the better defender? I think it's Seamus Coleman all day long, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I like Jabril Sidibe in terms of his energy. I think defensively he's not great, but he's got a lot of energy, he's got a lot of stamina, and we could potentially see Jabril Sidibe playing in a bit more of a forward role in this game. But for me, for right back, I think obviously both players having a lot of time off. Seamus Coleman not showing any injuries or any fitness issues at the moment. I think Seamus has to be in there as our number one right back. If you're enjoying the team, by the way, so far, please do hit the like button. It means a massive amount to me. I'll get into the live comments in just a second. If you're new to the channel as well, don't forget to subscribe. The Blues are back on Sunday. The live previews are back, the reviews are back. Cannot wait for Sunday, of course. Going into the midfield then, I've gone for Andre Gomez and Tom Davies. Now, this is the position that I've sort of sat on the fence a little bit with this position, because I've gone for a combination that I think Carlo Ancelotti could choose. I've got a combination in my head that I think Carlo Ancelotti will choose, and I've got a combination in my head that I think he won't choose, but I'd like him to choose. So the combination that I'd like him to choose firstly, before we go into the players that I've chosen, is Andre Gomez and Alex Iwobi. Now, this might surprise a few of you, but watching Alex Iwobi in the little training videos and seeing him playing from the centre midfield before, not only this season, but also throughout the training and stuff, he is a much better central midfielder than he is a winger, because he picks the ball up from centre midfield and he drives with it, he runs, he moves forward, he uses his energy, he uses his pace. When he's on the wing, I feel like he gets a little bit lost, because his first touch isn't always the best sometimes. So if he hasn't had a great first touch, he can lose the ball, he loses out, and on the wing you really, really need to be on it at all times. Whereas in the centre of midfield, you can pick the ball up from a nice short pass, turn round and run with it, and give and go. And I feel like we've seen a lot from Alex Iwobi from doing that through the centre of midfield. So I'd like Alex Iwobi in there. I would in the centre of midfield next to Andre Gomez. I think it would be a positive midfield. It would definitely be a forward thinking midfield, and I think Alex Iwobi is probably the only centre midfielder we have at the moment that would run with the ball. The two that I think Carlo Ancelotti will go with, even though I don't agree with it and I don't want it to be, is Andre Gomez and Gylfi Sigurdsson. I think Carlo Ancelotti, trusts Gylfi Sigurdsson a lot. I think he sees him as a professional, experienced player. And, listen, Gylfi put in some dreadful performances before the suspension of the league, and he was still in the team week in, week out. He was even put on the wing at some point. So I think we may see Gylfi Sigurdsson in there. I'm not going to lie to you. Don't be surprised if Gylfi Sigurdsson's in that centre of midfield. But I don't want him to be in there because, again, I think back to that Merseyside derby performance in December, and he just simply wasn't good enough for me. So I've gone with Tom Davies, sort of best of both worlds. A player that will give it 110%, will work hard, will run round, he'll get involved. Okay, he mightn't be the best quality-wise and ability-wise, but he'll definitely put himself about, he'll get around and he'll work his arse off. And I think, again, another young player who has got a lot of experience, but, again, still very, very young early on in his career. I'd love to put a Dennis Adeniran in there or a Benny Beningame, but I just don't think that Carlo Ancelotti will go with that this early on into the restart of the league. Going on the wingers then, I've gone for, obviously, it goes without saying, Andre Gomes is the other centre midfielder. I think he's our best technical centre midfielder. And, again, if Andre Gomes isn't in the squad, you're looking at a Schneiderlin who's probably going to leave the club within the next couple of weeks, or a Sigurdsson who isn't in great form or wasn't in great form. Delph and Gbamin obviously injured, so Gomes is pretty much an... he's a no-brainer really, isn't he? On the wings then, I've gone for Bernard on the right-hand side. Again, listen, I've looked at Bernard closely since the suspension of the league, and I've tried to sort of figure out, how I actually really feel about him. And for me, I like Bernard as a player. I think he's good. I think he's very technical. He's very skillful. He's very quick. But the bottom line is he needs to do more. No Evertonian can sit there and comfortably say to me that Bernard does enough in this Everton team. He doesn't. I think he's got 3 goals so far this season. And for a winger playing pretty consistently, week in, week out, Bernard should be more on 10, 12, 15 goals a season. So at the moment, he needs to be a little bit more consistent. I think he needs to do more. But on his day, I think he's definitely our most skillful. He's our trickiest, and he will give, the Liverpool fullbacks more of a problem than any other winger would do. Obviously, it's worth noting that Theo Walcott's still out injured as well. So I've gone for Bernard on the right-hand side. I've gone for Anthony Gordon on the left. Listen, I really, really want Anthony Gordon to start in this game of football. I can't lie. I've been massively impressed with him during the lockdown. I've been massively impressed with his workout regime, his work ethic. He's worked really, really hard. He seems to have added a little bit of physicality, a little bit of strength to his game, and technically I'm going to go out and say that I think other than Bernard, I think he's technically our best winger. And regardless of his age, regardless of his lack of Premier League experience, if we've got a player that is technically the best in his position, I don't really care about how old he is or his lack of Premier League experience. If we can comfortably say, right, okay, Anthony Gordon can do a better job on the wing than Alex Iwobi can, put Anthony Gordon in there, because why not? The lad is young, he's hungry, he's got the desire, he's got the ambition, and he's got the quality as well. Again, I've been really, really impressed with him in the training videos. I think he's looked really, really positive. So for me, I've put Anthony Gordon in there. I'd love to see Anthony Gordon start this game. I think it'd be a real boost for him. It'll also be a real boost for the other young players as well. The likes of your Jared Branthwaite, your Ellis Sims, your Dennis Adeniran players can then look at, Anthony Gordon and think, right, okay, if I get my head down and if I work hard here, Carlo Ancelotti is likely to put me in to this team. And then I've gone for Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison up front. No surprise there. Both absolutely fantastic for pretty much the entirety of this Premier League season. Massively impressed with Dominic Calvert-Lewin this year. I'm sure you all know his work ethic, as I think, is second to none. The lad works harder than most players I've seen in Everton shirts over the last 20 odd years. And Richarlison is listen, I love Richarlison. I hope that lad never leaves this football club. I think he's absolutely unbelievable. He's had Liverpool fans on strings today, I think. Apparently, he come out and quoted stating that he doesn't think Van Dijk's the best centre-half in the world, and he basically came out and went, yeah, he's good, but he's not as good as Marquinhos, Thiago Silva or Sergio Ramos, so I don't know why everyone's talking about him. But again, I'm not too sure how truthful those quotes are, but anyway, he's had Liverpool fans on strings, whether they're truthful or not. So that's my predicted starting 11 for Sunday's Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. If you're watching live, get your thoughts in there, live comments. We're diving in there in just a second. If you're enjoying this team, by the way, so far, please do hit the like button. It means a massive amount to me. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Eugene says, injury boost, of course. He also says, he quotes the Everton tweet saying, it won't be the same without you. Very emotional, that video. Lewis says, hello, mate. Movie room, Jordan. How you doing, mate? Thank you for getting involved. Jordan says, hey, Cam, hope you're doing good. I'm not too bad, mate. I'm not too bad. I don't know whether I am looking forward to Sunday. No, I'm looking forward to Everton being back on Sunday. I can't lie. Lewis says Gordon over Iwobi. I would like Richarlison at right mid, then Moise Kean and DCL up front. I don't think Moise Kean will start this game. I think Carlo Ancelotti will maybe utilise him off the bench, bring him on, and I think we'll see Moise Kean starting in the likes of the games against Norwich and maybe even potentially Leicester. But I think we'll go with our strongest team, and we should go with our strongest team for this game. And for me, that's Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin as the front two. David says Jorginho in the chat. He is. Big up Jordan. And Anders says, feel great watching one of these again. The excitement is there, but I hope I'm not devastated after the match. Up the fucking toffees, Cam. You're awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, I hope so too, mate. Of course, we'll have the into the match reaction on Sunday night, straight after the game, literally straight after the final whistle. We'll be doing our reaction to the performance and the result, and then of course the live game review on Monday. Loads of content coming thick and fast. We play a lot within the next couple of weeks or so, so there's going to be reviews, instant match reactions, previews left, right and centre, as well as other news videos. So if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. It only takes a second, it's completely free, and it means a massive amount to me. And if you're enjoying so far, please do hit the like button. Let's get the stream shared as well all over social media. Let's get as many people in here as possible while we're going through the live comments. Lewis says it's been ages. Ancelotti said Everton have to be perfect versus Liverpool. We do. He's right. And you know what I really like about Carlo Ancelotti? And, you know, I think it's his honesty. He's come out and he said today, Everton have to be perfect against Liverpool. They've got a very good team. They're one of the best teams in the world. Now, that's not something that's new to us. We all know that. We don't want to say it. We don't want to admit it because we hate them. We absolutely hate them. We hate the fact that, you know, whether they're great or not, they think they're great. And we just hate everything about them, don't we? But we have to admit that they're a very good footballing side, and Ancelotti's right, and he said something very similar in January in the FA Cup fixture. He said we have to be perfect to beat them, and everybody sort of went, well, if they're playing their kids and they're playing their youth team, why do we have to be absolutely perfect? And he come out and he said we have to be perfect to win this game, and we weren't perfect and we were beaten, so it's the same for this game. God says Carlo Ancelotti can inspire the squad and club and turn it back and turn. Yeah, he also says Everton back to the powerhouse of the 80s under Howard. I hope so, mate. I hope so. Lewis says I'm going 1-1 or 2-2. I'll give my prediction a little bit later on. Alex says we're going to get. I don't think we will, Alex. I don't. I predict a draw, if I'm being honest with you, but I think we can win this game. I do. Ewan says Everton need to score the first goal against Liverpool to beat them in the Merseyside derby. I'm going with 3-0. I hope so, mate. I hope so. Kev says, why do Watford use Z cars? I don't know, mate. I don't know. Faces, I reckon 2-1 to us. I hope so. Faye Kev says pointless activities in the grand scheme of an haircut. There you go. David says, if we get 15 points from the last 27, I'll be happy. Uden says Everton make contact over 30 million man. Who's that we're talking about? Jordan says we can do these. Gordon as an option for the right wing, but a big risk. Would like to see him come on. Think it'd be Sidibe right wing to start. And no, yeah, listen, I agree, Jordan. I think realistically, look, I'd like Gordon on the wing and I'd like Iwobi through the middle. Do I think that will be the team that plays on Sunday? Not necessarily. I wouldn't be surprised, like I said, if Gylfi Sigurdsson's in the middle, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sidibe's playing on the right-hand side. So if you see the team news on Sunday and it is Sidibe on the right wing and it's, you know, Sigurdsson through the middle with Gomez, don't be surprised, because it's, you know, ultimately it's Carlo Ancelotti saying, right, okay, I'm gonna come into this game with a careful 11, and then we can bring players in as and when needed. But I would love them to just take the risk on Gordon. I really would. I'd love for them to just say, you've impressed me in training, you impressed me before the lockdown, you're getting a start in the Merseyside derby now, go out there and show me what you've got. Uden says, where do you think Everton will finish? I think we'll finish about 9th. Faces 8th. Uden says smiles all around, of course. And this is, I think, Davis starts, but if he's not working, he gets subbed at half time. I think that's a good option, mate. Steve says, are we overrating Gomez as a fan base? He'll be coming into his 3rd season at the club soon and has 1 goal and 1 assist. It's a good question, and it's definitely a question I think we could sit down and talk about as a separate topic on one of the live streams in the future. Listen, I like Andre Gomez. I think he's a good technical player. He's not the best player I've ever seen. He's not unbelievable. Ultimately, he's not an attacking player. He doesn't score enough goals. He doesn't get enough assists. But it's a very good point. David says over 100 Prem games and he's still a 3 or a 6. I think he's playing for his future. I agree. OB Blues has finally caused a live chat from South Korea. Thank you very much, mate. Hope you're welcome. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well as well. Big thanks for joining us from South Korea. Faye says, do you have TikTok? I don't get involved with any. I barely have Twitter and Instagram. I don't get involved with any of the TikTok stuff. Anyway, then, just to summarise, of course, listen, it's going to be tough. We had a little bit of an injury update from the One Football app regarding Liverpool. Apparently, Liverpool may be without Mo Salah and Andy Robinson. There's potential fitness issues and concerns regarding those two players. So again, that'd be a massive boost for Everton. Obviously, two essential players in the Liverpool squad, really. Mo Salah, who is obviously notorious goal scorer for them, and Andy Robinson, who again, is been in good form over the last couple of years, although I absolutely hate the lad. He's been in good form. So, listen, that'll be a boost for Everton if those two are out injured. But again, it's just an injury concern at the moment, so don't be surprised if they're both fit and ready to start the game on Sunday. But listen, I think we need to approach this game positively. We cannot be going into this game with fear. We cannot be going into this game with worry. At the end of the day, we haven't played a competitive game of football in 3 months. Neither have Liverpool Football Club. There's only one way we should be going in. There's only one way we should be going into this game, and that is positively. We should be going in with our heads held high, our tails up, with a load of confidence, thinking, you know what, we can beat these, we can get at these, we can run at them and we can make something. Not many teams have scored 2 goals in Anfield this season. Everton have scored 2 goals in Anfield. Now, if we shore up the defence and we make sure we put in a decent defensive performance, and we also make sure that we're not only creating opportunities going forward, but we're taking them, because I repeat this, it's imperative. Far too many times over the years in Merseyside derbies of Everton had fantastic opportunities and we don't score them. I don't want to be sitting here on Sunday night watching the game going, oh, he should have scored that, but that's going to come back and bite us on the arse. I really, really don't want to. And if we can create the opportunities, if we can take those opportunities, if we can remain solid defensively and we get at them, let's get at them. Let's not let them play their own game. Let's not give them the ball and say, right, okay, you run at us and we'll just defend, because you'll be doing that for 90 minutes and they've got too much pace and quality in attack. They'll break through you at one point. Even if it's only once, they'll break through you at one point. So let's not give them the ball and sit back and say, right, you play your game. Let's get the ball, pick it up ourselves and say, right, you know what, actually, we're going to run at you, we're going to counter-attack you, we're going to break forward, we're going to bring the game to you, we're going to make it hard for you. It's at Goodison Park ultimately, and I know there's no fans and the atmosphere is going to be very, very different. In fact, there's not going to be any atmosphere. It's going to be very difficult for the players in terms of not having the fans behind them, but we need to turn it into a positive. It's imperative that we turn this into a positive. We use little things like our home changing room, playing on Goodison Park. Everton played an inter-squad friendly a couple of days ago, about a week ago, at Goodison Park. Used an inter-squad friendly. That was the first time they'll have played at Goodison Park since the Manchester United game prior to the lockdown. Use it to our advantage. Use it as a positive. Go out there, get at them, run at them. Don't make it easy for them. Make it hard. And ultimately, it's all about Everton Football Club. I don't care about them. I don't care what they do. I don't care what they win. I don't care where their bus route goes. I don't give a shit about them. I care about Everton Football Club, and I know if we can turn up on Sunday and we can win this game of football, the confidence will be absolutely through the roof for the remaining 8 games of the season. We'll finish the season strongly, and ultimately then Carlo Ancelotti can sit down, review the squad, and there's positive aspects to take going into next season. We need to restart the Premier League on a positive note, and for me, I think we can do that if we approach the game correctly, and I have full confidence that Carlo Ancelotti will have informed these lads to approach this game correctly. I really, really do. Anyway, OB Blue says, too many injuries at the moment. We are so far off full strength. It's worrying, but first game back, who knows what could happen. I'd take it all, to be honest. Yeah, and listen, on the fans not being at Goodison Park thing, just before we finish up, Carlo Ancelotti hit the nail on the head. He said, we're not going to know until we're in the middle of the game. We're not going to know how the players react. We're not going to know how difficult it is. We're not going to know until, we're there on Sunday afternoon. So I think as a fan base, we sort of have to just think, right, okay, let's see where we are on Sunday afternoon and let's see how the players react to the lack of crowd. Wayne says, have a good weekend, mate. Bring on the red side. Thank you very much, you too. Eugene says Fraser has played his last game for Bournemouth. He has, and the game is on Pick TV and Sky One as well as Sky Sports One. So it's free to view for everybody. Pick TV, I believe, is a free view channel, and Sky One, of course, if you're a Sky user. So everybody can watch the game for free. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's live game preview. First game preview back after the lockdowns, the Merseyside derby. It's not going to be easy. It's not the best of games to jump straight into, but it's got to be done, and we need to approach it positively, and we need to turn everything that's gone on over the last 3 months. Somehow, I know there's a lot of negativity, and I know it's awful what's happening, but we need to be as positive as possible going into this game. We need to get at them, we need to take the game to them, and ultimately we need to utilise our quality and our strengths, and if we can do that, then I am quietly confident going into the game. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's live game preview. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Really, really do appreciate all of your support. It means a massive, massive amount to me. Like I said, we'll be back on Sunday with the instant match reaction to the game. Straight after the final whistle, we'll be here with the instant match reaction, and then, of course, the live game preview on Monday. We're also going to have the live game the live game review on Monday, and we'll have the live game preview to the Norwich game hopefully on Monday, possibly Tuesday as well. So there's loads of content coming over the next couple of weeks or so. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. It means a massive amount to me. If you're watching the live comments, big thanks for getting involved. Really, really do appreciate all of your support. If you're watching as a YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comments and I'll get involved with as many of them as possible. Dada says, hopefully the bastard in charge of the match doesn't throw it. Hopefully, mate, but let's not put any of our hopes on Mike Dean. Let's really not put any of our hopes on Mike Dean for Sunday's game, because he's dreadful, isn't he? Let's be honest. Porcupine says, how do you feel about Chelsea signing Werner and Ziyech? I think they're good players for them. I think they'll do very, very well for them. And yeah, that's all I can say, really. Eugene says, see you about the toffees and the 3 points on Sunday. Thank you very much, Eugene. Face says, bye. And Porcupine says, cheers. Great team, Cam. Thank you very much. Thanks to everybody for getting involved in the live comments as per usual. If you enjoyed, please do leave a like. We'll be back on Sunday for the instant match reaction. Come on, Blues. Turn up and fight for the shirt. Fight for this badge. Fight. Don't let them have it easy. Don't let them play their own game. Don't give them the ball. Get at them. Utilise your strengths. Create opportunities. Take your opportunities. And let's defend like we know we can defend. And, let's go out there and let's win this game of football. And let's restart the season on a positive. Big thanks for watching. Leave a like if you've enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. And we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.